Hello, my loves, and welcome to the channel. Now listen, I know moving to a new country can be daunting. It's like trying to understand a Katherine Heigl movie. Utterly baffling at times. But fear not, my dears, this isn't a rom-com and there's no awkward misunderstanding we can't handle. Today, we're your trusty guide to navigating life in the UK, from the Highlands of Scotland to the rolling hills of Wales. So buckle up, grab a cuppa, and let's get started. First things first, dearies, let's talk about fitting in. Now, the UK is a bit like a patchwork quilt. Each nation has its own unique charm and quirks. You've got the Scots, bless their kilts, who celebrate New Year's Eve like there's no tomorrow with a good old hogmanay. Then there's Wales, the land of song, where you might just hear Welsh spoken as much as English. And speaking of English, my darlings, you'll need a bit of that to get by. It's like the universal language of awkward encounters and ordering tea. But don't fret if your accent needs a bit of work. Just think of it as adding to your charm. Oh, and a little tip from yours truly, queuing is an art form here. Seriously, we Brits could queue for a queue, so mind your P's and Q's and you'll be right as rain. Now let's talk about everyone's favourite topic. Healthcare. Don't worry, love, you won't need to sell a kidney to afford a doctor's appointment here. The NHS, our National Health Service, has got you covered. It's like a big warm hug from the government, funded by your taxes. The first thing you need to do is register with a local GP, a general practitioner. Think of them as your healthcare gatekeeper, the one who guides you through the NHS maze. And trust me, darling, it can be a maze at times. Now, the NHS is fantastic, but it can get a bit busy. So if you're after a quicker appointment or some fancy pants treatment, you might want to consider private health insurance. It's like having a VIP pass to healthcare, but remember, it'll cost you a pretty penny. Right then, lovebirds, let's find you a roof over your head. Housing in the UK can be a bit like dating, competitive, confusing, and sometimes you end up with something completely different from what you expected. London, my dears, is like the George Clooney of cities. Everyone fancies it, but it'll cost you an arm and a leg. But don't despair, there are plenty of other charming and affordable options across the country. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure you understand your tenancy rights. These can be as varied as the accents in the UK, so do your homework and avoid any nasty surprises. Alright, my ambitious friends, let's talk shop. The UK job market is a bit like the weather, unpredictable and constantly changing. The good news is, there are opportunities galore, especially if you're in certain fields. Networking is key, darling. Attend job fairs, polish up that CV, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Now, if you've got little ones in tow, you'll need to navigate the education system. We've got public schools, private schools, and everything in between. It's enough to make your head spin faster than a teacup ride. Do your research, check out the schools in your area, and remember, every child is different, so find what works best for your little geniuses. Listen, moving to a new country can be lonely, like being the only one at a party who doesn't understand the punchline. But fear not, my social butterflies. The UK is a melting pot of cultures and communities just waiting to welcome you with open arms. Join local clubs, volunteer for a cause you care about, or simply strike up a conversation with your neighbour. You'll be surprised how a friendly smile and a bit of banter can go a long way. Remember, dears, building a support network is crucial, so get out there and mingle. You never know who you might meet. Your new best friend could be just around the corner. Now, let's talk transport, shall we? The UK has a fantastic public transport system, from the iconic red buses to the tube in London. It's like a well-oiled machine, except when it rains, then it's more like a damp squib. If you're planning on using public transport regularly, look into getting an Oyster card or a rail card. It'll save you a few quid, and trust me, every penny counts. If you're feeling adventurous and fancy driving, make sure you're familiar with the rules of the road. Remember, we drive on the left side here, which can be a bit confusing at first. But hey, at least you won't bump into the Queen. Now, for the boring but important stuff, visas and finances. Before you start picturing yourself sipping cocktails on a beach, make sure your visa is sorted. It's like the golden ticket to your UK adventure, so guard it with your life. Once you've got your visa in order, the next step is opening a bank account. It's like having a treasure chest for your hard-earned cash, and trust me, you'll need it. There are plenty of banks to choose from, so shop around and find one that suits your needs. And don't forget to ask about any special offers for newcomers. Every little helps, darling. Now let's talk about what makes the UK truly special. Its diversity. We're a melting pot of cultures, languages, and traditions, all coexisting in this little island nation. It's like a giant party where everyone's invited. Embrace the different cultures around you, try new foods, learn a few phrases in another language, and most importantly, be respectful of everyone's beliefs and customs. Remember, my dears, diversity is our strength, and by embracing it, we create a richer and more vibrant society. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the weather. The UK is famous for its unpredictable climate. One minute it's sunny, the next it's pouring down with rain. It's enough to make you want to carry an umbrella and a sun hat everywhere you go. But don't let the weather dampen your spirits, my dears. Embrace the changing seasons, invest in a good raincoat, and always be prepared for anything. On the plus side, the UK has a fantastic work-life balance. We work hard, but we also know how to relax and enjoy ourselves. So take advantage of your statutory holidays, explore the countryside, and don't be afraid to put your feet up and have a cuppa. Listen, moving to a new country can be tough. It's like trying to assemble flat-pack furniture, frustrating, confusing, and sometimes you just want to give up and order takeout. But seriously, my dears, it's important to look after your mental health and well-being. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you're feeling overwhelmed. There are plenty of support services available, from counseling to support groups. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Connect with other newcomers, build a support network, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. And there you have it, my loves, your crash course in navigating life in the UK. I hope you found it helpful, or at the very least, mildly entertaining. Remember, moving to a new country is an adventure, so embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories, and don't forget to have a good laugh along the way. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a date with a cuppa and a biscuit. Until next time, my dears, stay fabulous.